call this Beckley County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. I would ask if you have a cell phone or anything that makes noise, please put it on silent or vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. If you want to speak to the board, if you're not on the agenda, speaker cards by the fire chief back there. If you want to fill one out, get it to one of the board members. We'll be glad to let you speak at the appropriate time. And with that, Commissioner Mobley is going to introduce our our youth pastor.
Absolutely. Tonight we got Mr. E.J. Carrasco. Did I say it right? Carrasco?
Yes,
coming up. He's going to lead us in prayer and the pledge. He's an upcoming, you come up to the podium right here, if you don't mind. He's an upcoming pastor at Christian Fellowship Temple, and we're honored to have him here tonight.
I just want to say thank you so much, Mr. Tyler, for recognizing me and honoring me and blessing me with this opportunity. It's such a blessing and honor for, I'm not even 20 years old, and for you to consider me to do something like this, I'm honored. Thank y'all for allowing me to do this, and thank you everyone here tonight to just come here and just guide our county. So if we'll just go ahead, just bow our heads. Lord, we thank you tonight, God, for your many blessings in all of our lives, Lord. God, we thank you for the blessing of waking up, God, the blessing of breath in our lungs, God, to be able to stand and listen and see and to be here in this meeting, God, present physically online, Lord. We thank you so much for that blessing, God. I pray that we never take the blessing of life for granted, God. And Lord, I just pray over every single person on the board, every person who's in this building, God, every person who's listening or watching online, God. I pray right now that you just give them ears to hear. I pray that they obey your voice, God. I pray that you give everyone in this room, everyone listening, everyone on the board, God, wisdom. I pray that you give them the truth of your Holy Spirit, God. Lord, we pray that you guide them into your will and in your way. God, I pray that they don't make any decision hastily, God, but by prayer, by fasting, by your supplication, God, they would make every decision to lead our county into your will and into your way, God. Lord, right now we just pray and ask that we would just be open to what you want to do, God. We pray right now that you bless every single member of the board, God, that you bless everyone here tonight, God, that you bless everyone, Lord, in our county, that as this meeting is taking place, God, that things happen that not just advance our county, God, and here on earth, but God, that advance our county to your glory, Jesus. We just thank you so much for your gift, for the sacrifice that you made for us, God, on the cross of Calvary. God, we thank you that you forgive us of every and any sin, God. And I pray if there's anyone in this room, God, if there's anyone watching, God, who has been thinking about you, Jesus, or has been questioning you, God, I pray that this would be their sign to give their life to you, Lord. Lord, we pray that this meeting would glorify you, Jesus, that every word spoken, that every action taken and made, every decision made, God, anything at all that happens, God, would be to your glory and to your glory alone, Lord. I pray that you would hide every single board member behind the cross, God, and that they would do everything to your glory, that they would surrender their wills to yours, and that they would do what you want to do and not what they want to do, Jesus. We thank you so much again for the freedom that we have in this county, Lord. We thank you for the freedom to join in these meetings. We thank you for the freedom to pray and to bless your name, Jesus. And we just pray for a smooth meeting, a quick, God, just truthful meeting, God, and just guide everyone here by your Holy Spirit, Jesus. It's in your name that we pray and praise you, God. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
I thought he was going to preach there for a minute.
I have known EJ since he was about 8 years old. I just want to say I'm very proud of you, bud. You did a great job.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a blessed one. God
You as
bless
well.
you all.
It's great to see young preachers and pastors coming up. It's exciting to me to be an old man and to watch someone like that really believes it and lives it. I see him not every Sunday because I'm gone most of Sundays in another country, but he really loves his family, his church, and most of all, he loves his God. And
Yep.
that's most important.
Absolutely.
Okay. He went to preaching now, and I done got excited up here. So I needed that.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have anything they need to change or move? Staff, is everything good?
Everything's fine on my end.
Commissioners?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Sorry.
Have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Man, you're going to have to tighten up from over there. Motion, unanimous. I get mixed up with this delayed thing. Elected officials, I don't see any here tonight, so we'll move to our next item on the agenda. I do not have received any public speaker cards. Is anyone in the would like to speak? No. Moving to our next item on the agenda was the approval of the consent agenda items. Has everyone had a chance to look over those? Take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. I'm trying to wait on you, brother. He's in Italy, so.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, which is our new business items, but I'm going to let you know now that if we get close to 6 o'clock, we will take a short recess and then go into our public meeting because it's very important that we go into it at 6 o'clock exactly tonight, okay? So on our first item for business, CDBG Housing, the resolution 2025-16. Mr. Neighbors?
That was quick. Yeah, I started saying a couple of amens myself. Just kind of give you a little update. We're moving forward with the CDBG housing grant. We have advertised. Staff has put an advertisement that went out in the paper on the 17th. So we're right at a week into it. Those applications are due back by November 3rd. And I think we've received how many so far? 25?
Roughly 30 after today.
30 applications.
30 applications.
That's
how many have been picked up.
What?
Picked
right,
up.
Picked up.
They haven't
Okay.
turned back in yet.
Okay.
We plan on having a workshop for the homeowners in the middle of October. I believe it's the 17th, isn't it? 7th. The 7th of October, we're going to have a workshop, so that way we can kind of assist and help with the questions that they have. And of course, I've received multiple questions via phone call as well as the ship department has as well. So we're getting the questions answered and guiding them in the right direction. I'll be happy to answer any questions on the applications.
When's the deadline for the applications?
November 3rd
November 3rd.
to be turned back in. I think they can pick it up to was it the 24th? October 27th is when they can pick it up till, and then November 3rd is when they're all due back.
Say those dates again. You pick up until
October 27th,
In
November 3rd is when they're due.
and due by November 3rd.
November 3rd at 4 o'clock.
can they turn them in at any point?
They can.
I'm sorry.
The workshop is the
Do-
7th.
Do we have this
October
advertised
7th.
anywhere or put on our social media or anywhere so people can see this and know these dates and times?
Yes. Everywhere we can post it, it's there.
That was my question. I was making sure we had it out.
The word's out there. We've already had 25.
fixing to tell you.
Yeah,
It's
it's
already
out
picked
there.
up. Yeah, it's
I
out
got
there.
called at church on Sunday about it, so it's
Yeah.
out there, yeah.
Word of mouth travels faster than social media, I think.
Okay.
A quick question for you. In the document here, we've got a number of areas that's been highlighted in yellow.
I'm gonna get with that. Yes, sir. That's gonna be my last thing to discuss. I've got a couple tabs I'd like to discuss. with you.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions on the applications? There's two documents that we had to update as part of the special conditions to the contract. One of them is the excessive force resolution. Are you gonna let the attorney read that by title or how you wanna?
They usually, no, we don't.
Okay. All The excessive force resolution, it needs to be adopted as part of the CDBG requirements. And the housing assistance plan has been updated from your former one. I want to say it was almost 20 years old. We added the lead-based paint requirement as required by the CDBG program, along with the Energy Star standards and all the updated CDBG language. There's a few things that I want to talk about and kind of get your guidance on, or you might be perfectly fine for what's in there now. And as Commissioner Bennett alluded to on the highlighted areas, on page 4, you'll notice that is the ranking criteria that we are ranking the applications by. Here again, this is the common ranking criteria. It can change based on the county's preference. Of course, you know, with all your very low income, of course, gets priority over everything, as well as your elderly and head of household and handicapped individuals. One of the other ones that's in here that you might want to exclude or leave in there. Let me find it. Actually, no, I think I took that out because that was part of another community's, what they wanted to see in theirs. So yeah, never mind, scratch that, I took that out. So if there's any other preferences that you want to give to the residents that are applying for it, other than elderly and handicapped, now's the time to let me know so I can put that in there. Of course, your floodplain individuals will be, those that are in the floodplain will be ranked after non-floodplain because, of course, you know, it's going to cost a lot of money to raise those houses up that are in the floodplain. So you can just take a minute to look over any of those and ask me any questions that you have, or add input, lead me in a direction, or accept it like it is.
There's some comments.
Yes.
Just a couple things here. When I run down through the list on 3.5, it says households with elderly heads of households, a handicapped individual living in the households. What is elderly?
62 and above.
And do we have that defined somewhere?
It's defined on a state level, but I don't believe it's actually in here that states 62.
Okay. You may want to, I'd suggest just to make it clear, put a parenthesis there and put age
Okay.
62 or older. Also, on 3.8, it says applicants must have a clear title to the property or be current with mortgages and payments. Is that at the time they make application?
Correct.
So you may want to say at the time of application there, so that's very clear, because otherwise you could have folks saying, well, I'm not cleared yet, but I'm working on that, and I will have it cleared by such and such a date.
Well, they have to, whenever they're submitting their application and they do have a mortgage, they have to provide us, and it states it in the application, an updated mortgage
Showing that they're
current. That's actually in the application.
Okay.
It's a part of the requirement of the
Correct.
application.
Okay, so it's at the time of application,
Right.
they have to it's got to be
They
done.
have to show that they're
Okay.
today.
They have to show they're current, as well as property taxes as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for me.
Anything else?
Yes, sir, on the next tab, page 6. Looking at a maximum rehab of $45,000 and for replacement of $160,000. That's kind of the going averages. Of course, that $160,000, that's a 4-bedroom. That's your 12.
Do these prices include the well, septic tank?
No,
Just the house?
just the house. Well, and septic tank is not included in the overall price. Right now, we have it set, you can see it on page 22, at $135 a square foot, which that's the today's average. It's actually a little less, so the average is about $150. 4-bedroom, 2-bath at $1,206, 3-bedroom, 2-bath at $1,158, and 2 bedrooms, 1 bath at $850.
So this is the maximum for the 4-bedroom, 2-bath?
Correct.
Okay. The other numbers would fall under that.
Say again?
The other numbers would fall under that 2-bedroom, 1-bath. We're only gonna build what they need, not what they want.
We're gonna always put, well, how we've done it in the past, we've always done a 2-bedroom, 1-bath minimum. Because, like you say, 9 times out of 10, we are dealing with the elderly, and they have people to come stay.
Oh,
with
no,
them.
that 2-bedroom,
So,
one
yeah,
is fine.
Yeah, 2-bedroom and 1, we don't go any lower than that.
Okay,
And that's for a 1-person, single occupant.
okay.
At 45,000.
No, that's the rehab.
Yeah, that's the 45.
Your house is 160, but you back off.
I got you.
When you get to a smaller house, it comes down.
Okay.
It's all based on cost per square foot.
Right,
Correct.
135 per
Roughly
square foot,
135 is kind of what we're.
which is the going rate.
Right. I mean,
Really,
I think-
is cheaper.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're looking at 150 to 175 and the higher end side, so. But in the instance that we do have any, I mean, we can go over that number, but just like in your SHIP program, if we do end up having to exceed that for whatever the reason, we'll get an extra approval to
Right.
exceed that amount.
Okay.
What do you do without septic and?
That's just construction, you know.
I know, but what if this comes to that? How do
It
you
would come back
handle that?
before us to do.
You would have to add it,
Right.
just like,
As far as the change order is concerned,
yeah,
that's another thing that I was gonna bring up at a later meeting as far as how change orders are handled.
okay.
But whenever the bids come in, I will go to the line item and take off their charge on the well septic if they are getting well septic.
I just know in the past we'd had trouble with that. It'll come back and the septic wasn't no good. We put a house there and then we've had that problem. I want to make sure that's not
And a lot
gonna
of
happen.
times we have that whenever.
Yeah,
we,
because they didn't address that and then found out later that it needed.
Oh, you
to be
mean after
addressed.
the house was already done and sealed?
Yes.
I'll make sure all
Yeah.
those are inspected prior to leaving the property.
Yeah.
Make sure
Well, how
everything's
can we
in
do
order.
it before it comes before us?
Say again?
How can we do it before it comes before us?
That's what I do in the field. I inspect all that stuff and make sure they're all operable. before I
They
do
have
it.
they have to pump the tank and,
Yes.
to get a permit, you have to pump the tank and look at the tank.
Okay.
You can't just go get a permit to build a house without
Right,
pumping
but
out.
then in the past, we've done rehabs and then had to go
Right.
back and fix it.
Well,
all
the
of a
problem
Yeah.
came after the problem. The drain field might have been stopped. I mean, there's a lot of issues
sudden.
that,
Right. Okay. I'm just trying to head off some of the changes.
Right.
It'll be pumped out and inspected.
what we don't want to get in the habit is just every time we get a new house, is put a new well septic tank automatically when we
correct.
don't need it.
Question?
Yes, sir.
We are saying the cost of the dwelling unit, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house has a maximum of $135 per square foot. And that is excluding, and
Well
on
said.
page 15, it says specifically, excluding septic tank, well, water sewer hookups, or demolition, which is less than the cost of new construction and will be assumed to meet the cost value limit. Where's the money for those coming from?
It's coming from the total bid. But whenever you're saying you're not going to exceed 135,000, those 3 items are taken out, or $135 a square foot. Those 3 items are taken off the total price to make sure you're staying at that. I mean, it could very well come in at 175,000. Let's just use that number. But it's got, you have your well and septic included in that.
Okay, but I'm just wanting to be clear, make sure we're on the same page. For example, if on page 22, 4.5.3, it says 2 bedrooms with 1 bath at 850 square foot, it'd be $114,750. All right, so that's the cost for the structure. In addition to that, we'd also be adding, if necessary, well, septic, sewer hookup, demolition.
Whatever it is, correct.
All of those. So a project may very well exceed that $135 a square foot because you're adding all of those other items into it. And all of those other costs for those other items are eligible to receive funding from the CDBG grant program.
Correct.
But we don't have a maximum amount that we can spend overall on a project.
Correct.
Okay.
Just as long as the structure itself, or the construction of the structure itself falls under the $135 a square foot.
Right.
Okay.
Page 21, there at the bottom, CDBG, we did put $5,000 in the budget for tempo reload. And this is just a kind of a, normally what you see, if you have a rehab and for some reason you have to vacate part of the house and put your belongings in storage, we can pay up to $450. And for new construction, up to $1,000 to help pay for your storage costs. And that's more of an informative. I mean, you can increase that, but we'd have to redo our budget, because in our budget, we put in a total of $5,000 for tempo relo, so. And then the last thing that I
You
have-
jump back on page 17, we've got number 17, page 17, it says no contract will be allowed to have more than
Right,
3
I was about to
jobs.
address that.
Okay?
And this is something that has historically, and because these things are, I push them pretty hard, so we have some time constraints on the building process. And in the past, other communities have not allowed any other contractor to have more than 3 bids going at one time unless they have proved themselves in the community that can handle the capacity. Is basically what that says.
We have the same thing in our ship, three houses.
So, and that's what that's referring to.
I think it's a good rule.
I agree with it, because what happens otherwise, you get the citizens that's waiting on this house and on their house getting exceptionally frustrated because the work's not getting done and they don't see any work happening. And so
When I hit them with that $100 liquidated damages today, they don't like that too well. So they start speeding it up. I stress that
I do
when we're signing
$3,500 a
contracts
day.
with the homeowner contract.
One question on the inspections.
Yes, sir.
Inspection and approval of completed work must be
What page
conducted, page 18, I'm sorry, number 4. Second paragraph, inspection and approval of completed work must be conducted by the housing rehabilitation specialist.
Mhm.
That would be you, right?
That's me, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I sign, whenever the contractor submits their draws,
Pay out,
I-
yeah.
yep, I go out, if I haven't already went out there and inspected it, I'll go out there and inspect it and make sure that what he's requesting has been
Right.
paid out. I
Cool.
sign off on it, the local government signs off on it, and then it's.
Going beyond that, it says the owner's approval of the work is also required when payment is
Correct,
requested.
there's a signature line on there for them as well.
Okay.
They have to sign off, the homeowner, because remember, the county's just the bank. I'm the facilitator, the homeowner and the contractor, that's who the contract is between. So the homeowner signs, I sign, county signs, contractor signs, it's paid.
Okay.
So the homeowner has to also approve the work. And there has been instances where the homeowner doesn't understand what they're signing, and they all, because whenever we do select or whenever you guys select the homeowners, we have a homeowner workshop, and my workshop, I have a book that it details everything that they could possibly ask at that workshop, and that's one thing that is covered. They have my number. I touch base with them 3 or 4 times a week if I haven't heard from them, so that way I can head off any issues or questions that they have. So.
Okay.
That's all I have as far as the yellow highlighted. I'll be happy to address anything else you guys want to address.
Anyone have anything else? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve.
what are we approving?
Resolution 2025-16
And the housing assistance.
and the housing
house.
assistance. The plan.
Rich, should it be two different motions or is one?
You can do it as
There
one.
should be 2 different motions for my purposes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do which one you approve?
2025-16 and the
Just do one.
application.
Let's just do the resolution first.
Okay.
So there's a motion to approve the resolution?
20, yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We don't have to read that, do we, Rich?
No.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. I'm sorry. Motion carries unanimously. Now I need a motion for the housing assistant plan.
Move to approve the CDBG Housing Assistant Plan as presented.
With the addition of adding 62 years old in that one.
With the
With the
modification for
mod-
adding the age clarification
3.5.
for elderly.
Sorry.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's all I have. As we get closer to, I'd say I would probably start, we will advertise, I want to see, these are due November 3rd, so we'll probably, because there's, I have to walk all the houses and we have to select them, so we're probably going to advertise for contractors, I would say, latter part of November and go ahead and get them in here and get them approved. And they'll have to pretty much go through the same format and making sure they haven't been debarred from using federal funds and checking with all the department lists and insurances and everything like that. So we're going to probably end up doing that at some point at the end of November, and I'll bring those to you. But that's the next thing that's on the list after the homeowner. So
Thank you, sir.
yes, sir.
Item number 2, approval of the grant application, Baker County Fairgrounds. Mr. Langford.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you?
About 1 year ago, we got together and set in motion a grant for the fairgrounds that included $300,000 for mitigation from Shoals Park, then to $600,000 to go ahead and take out half the wetlands. The grant also included building a multi-purpose arena, covered arena on the fairgrounds, total of $2,530,000. It went through this year, at Tallahassee, through all the work. We were scored very high, we were told, but there was some other counties that stepped in front of us. So politically, that happens. We were encouraged to submit it again, and with the opportunity that we thought that it would be a positive look at. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're voting to put the same measure back in place. It does include $300,000 for mitigation, which you'll be able to use for multiple projects, because we'll only use 6 or 7 credits, and so that there's going to be somewhere around 30 credits, I believe. So you'll be able to bank those and use those on other projects. So as part of this.
Right. So this is just to approve the application. Right.
The
Just to
application,
submit.
it's due by the end of this month, so it is a part of that process. Obviously, because the fairground is owned by the county, this is your application.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Langford, tell me again, we're asking for a total of how much money?
$2,530,000.
Okay, and I'm seeing that we've got a local match. Has there got a local match on this?
No.
Okay, well,
The 50% is the land value. You have to have at least 40% to apply for a grant, but that we use the land value, that we are allowed to use that as the matching.
Not a cash match.
It's not a cash match.
okay, so maybe I'm missing something here, but when you submit the request, if you're asking for 2.5 million, and that's only 50% of it, you got to have a project that is $5,060,000, so that you can get, when you take the total project cost, your 50% of local match, and then you get 2.5 million from it. Because the way I see this is the amount requested is 2.5 million, the total match is 126,000 at 50%. I don't, on a 50-50 match, what you're asking for and what your match is has got to be the same for it to be a 50-50 match. And because right now this is,
I hear what you're saying. It's already gone through one process and was graded high, and we have someone from Tallahassee that reviews it before we submit it, and it went through all the submission. So it's the way they look at it. I hear what you're saying, but I just don't think that's the way it works. It's my understanding.
okay, I'm good all for caution with it, because again, every grant that I've ever seen, that you have a total project cost and 50% is your match, and it can be the property value and things like that. And then the other 50% is what you get. And because we do them here at the county all the time for every one of our FDOT projects, we get the waiver from having to do our 50% match because of rural area of critical economic concern and all those kind of things. But you got a project where a 50-50 match means whatever you're asking for the state for, you must have that same amount of match. If y'all saying it's
We'll run it
different,
through our contact.
if you're saying it's distant, I'm just,
If I may, the bottom of that says that the match must be at least 40% of the requested amount. So maybe the math's not quite 50% on that, but it's more than 40.
okay.
Yeah, that may be the
That-
issue. We'll
that's
look at
fine.
it just to make sure.
We'll review it, and again, we had someone review it last year from Tallahassee and signed off on it, but we'll do that again.
Okay, it's just saying you got to have a match percentage
Yes,
of
sir.
that amount. That
Yes,
doesn't mean
sir.
that they're going to fund 50% of a project.
Right.
Okay, they're good with
That
it,
may
that's
be the
fine.
difference. Yes, sir.
So that's why we're putting in 1.2 of the property.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just hate to get all the way through the process and then
Well,
come around and
absolutely.
then they come around and say, well, you got a $2.5 million, we're gonna fund 50% of it. And that's, which
I understand.
wouldn't get you there. So that's what I was wanting to make sure we don't.
It's a pleasure, board.
Make a motion to approve the grant application.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Roger.
Item number 3, grant acceptance FFAG for BCFR. All these acronyms drive me crazy.
We have
Yes.
a very small space to try to put a
Chief
description in.
Nelson.
Yes, sir. We came to you a couple months ago and asked for permission to apply for this grant, Florida Firefighters Assistance Grant. And they did approve us for $54,625 for 5 new SCBA air packs with 10 spare air bottles. And it's a 100% state-funded, no match grant.
That's
So,
kind of like,
kind you like, sir.
yeah, it's the kind we like.
And just looking for approval and also approval to make the purchase. It's under a Lake County contract, so.
What fiscal year is that? Is that this fiscal year?
It will, I think it'll fall in the next by the time we get the
By the time-
funding
by the time we get the funding
request,
and everything,
everything
yeah.
signed off.
Yeah, it'll be
Yep.
next fiscal year once it goes through the
Okay.
process before any purchases made.
But is this signing off on a grant acceptance? Do we have an application, or will they send us will they send us a contract, a grant form?
I believe they,
Contract,
yes,
yes.
they do send a contract after we sign off on this tonight.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so fine with this. I'm gonna make sure as we move through this process, when it comes to us for signing that, because will it come back before us when it comes back to
I
us?
think theirs are electronic, if I remember right, Trevor. I think we
Correct.
just sign off on
Yes.
that on the portal, so
Right.
the contract doesn't.
And so
yeah.
by us approving this tonight, tonight, are we giving staff the authority to execute the grant?
Yes, sir, that would be the request, yes, sir.
When do we see the budget amendment? Because was this included in our budget?
No, sir, it wasn't.
So when do we see the budget amendment? Because that's one of the things that we talked about when we get in grants. We're not managing grants if we're not getting the budget associated with it. Because I'm telling you again, folks, what took place here about a month and a half ago when we did a $7+ million budget adjustment, something wasn't managed right in this county. Not you individuals, but something ain't right.
Yes, sir. We're tracking as we actually have about
So-
3 so far that need a budget amendment, and once we get our new staff on board, we'll begin.
I would ask whoever puts the motion on the floor to accept this grant, it accepts it with the grant with the caveat that the signing of the grant comes back to this board with a resolution for amending the budget before staff signs off on the grant.
Sir,
And I'm glad to make that the motion. We approve the acceptance of the grant, but before it is executed, an amendment for budget, for the budget amendment is done before staff signs off and executes the grant agreement.
So
That's
does
my
that-
motion.
Does that take them 2 weeks? If it comes back before the board in 2 weeks, before they can order it?
No, by us approving this, it gives authority that they will now prepare the grant documents, the actual contract grant itself, and submit it to the and have it ready to return back to the county for signatures.
It'll come back to the county manager, she signs it. And once it's signed, then we reach out to the vendor, say we have approved contract with the state, they sign their side. Once we get that, then we make the order. We don't make any
Gotcha.
orders until we got everything
Right.
signed off to.
and we'll make sure the budget amendment is part of that.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I'll second
We'll
that
take care of it.
motion.
The motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Grant acceptance, JAG grant. Mr. Blanchard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chair. I'm back before you for grant acceptance. This particular grant is the Edward Burns direct grant, and this one we were asked to apply, and you gave us the permission to go forward. We have the grant now award for us. I'm asking for you all to approve the acceptance. It's in the amount of $3,601. We're going to be purchasing some LiDAR, which are the laser units, and to be able to use for speed enforcement. We're going to purchase with this 2 lasers, and it's going to cost a little more than the $3,000 for the 2 lasers. Our general fund at the sheriff's office will take care of the supplemental fund that needs to go along with that. So it's sort of an in-kind match. There's no actual match that's needed for that. That's the first grant that I'm here before you for.
Was this in the budget?
So in our particular case, yes, we have it set aside that inside the sheriff's office, we will purchase it and then get the reimbursement directly back.
So the grant dollars.
His match is in his budget. The grant dollars are not in yours. So we will have the same conversation about this one to do a budget amendment as well.
Okay, so just to be clear, this should not be a surprise to anybody because we made this request months ago that says when a grant is coming before us, we expect a resolution to be brought to us at the same time for approval, accepting it and amending our budget for it.
Yes, sir. There's just no finance director to do that at the moment, so we're making a note of those to do them all at one time. Yes, sir. We understand that, Commissioner. We're
Okay.
working towards making that happen immediately.
And so you understand, John, I'm all for the grant, I'm all for accepting it.
Yes.
My issue's not that at all. What I'm very much focused on is the out-of-whack process that we have with the current finance department or non-existing finance department, where we are not having our budget mimic what we are receiving, what we are doing. And this is why we had a $7 million bust in our budget a couple weeks ago. And that's why I'm wanting to make sure that our process is working right. So I'm all for doing this. I'm just wanting to make sure we don't get in the same predicament we was a few weeks ago. So I'm glad to make the motion to approve acceptance of the grant, and we need to have a budget amendment prior to any actions taken for any expenditures.
Yes, sir.
Second. All right, Commissioner, I just want to ask, so this is actually from the sheriff's budget. This is not coming from the county's budget.
I understand, but there still needs to be a budget amendment because somewhere along, was
The money
this
comes to us
included?
first.
It comes
Was,
through us.
it comes through the county and we have to have budget from us, so it's either got to be in the county's budget or the sheriff's budget. Somebody has to have budget authority to spend this money that it wasn't there before. And I'm okay with either one. I'm not saying it needs to be ours, I'm simply saying we need to make sure that the appropriate budget approval has been done as well. And it's not about who's spending the money, it's the budget is the authority to spend that money. And that's all we're saying. That's why a few weeks ago, we had spent $7 million without authority to spend it. That's what I can't comprehend yet. So that's why I want to make sure the budget is in line. So
Yes, sir.
it's not an issue with the grant, just want to be clear. It's about the appropriate paperwork to keep track of expenditures as they should be.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I have you on board again with, I'm not even gonna try to say it, EMPA grant.
Yes,
Yep.
again, I had asked before, specifically with this grant to apply for it. We were awarded $806,000. There's a budget that goes along with it. It mirrors basically what we did last year as well. We're down from $109,000 last year that we got. That's just the funding streams from the state. And again, in the sheriff's budget, we do account for this, but we will make sure that whatever arrangements we need to do, we will certainly do that.
Make sure.
I've got 105,000. Is it 69?
He's probably sleeping in his nights. He says this over and over again. His wife probably slaps him side of the head.
So yes, sir, you're correct. It came down from 109 last
That's in
year,
his
so
head.
it's 105,000 this year.
I don't blame you, brother. I'm just
It's the
listening.
69.
Yep, 105,806.
For mosquito or?
105,806.
Yes, sir.
That's what I have.
There you go.
Okay.
Why don't we use this for?
So this is the operations for the Emergency Operations Center, so it
Operations, yeah.
does salaries, plus we
Right.
have multiple things for our 911 system and whatnot
Okay.
that will come through.
So this is all for emergency operations?
Yes, sir.
Basically.
Move to approve the grant as presented with the caveat that no expenditures occur until budget is aligned.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Oh, man.
All right, Mr. Man, you on board again, ain't you?
I'm trying to keep
Mr.
this funded, sir.
Mr. Mosquito.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be in the mosquito control business.
Yeah, I know you told me you know a lot more about mosquitoes now than you ever did before. So.
More than I wanted to, yes, sir. So,
But if you do need to learn more, St. Johns County has a mosquito museum you can visit.
they have some experts, and also we're developing our own subject matter expert. Dennis, one of his major things is he got excited about the jargon in the mosquito business.
Believe it or not, it's pretty cool. It's geared towards kids, but even as an adult, it was
Oh,
really neat.
museums.
So, yeah.
We just
I
sent John
miss-
and Dennis out in the woods.
I can tell you, we can count it. So I'm back before you. A couple of months ago, I brought you the newest contract from the state in the amount of $67,000, and I saved some change. And since then, the state found some more money, and they divided up amongst the multiple counties that are receiving this grant. So we're getting a slight bump of $2,000. So of course, I'm bringing it back before you, asking for permission to go from the $67,000 to the $69,587.50. And that's helping us with just a tad more spraying that we'll be doing and collecting of the mosquitoes.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to accept the additional $2,000 as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
Thank you all for your patience.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have next on my list is emergency management update. Are we quick or I got 15 minutes.
I should meet your time schedule, Mr. Chairman, with no issues.
Well, there's always issues. That's why I'm asking
Not for me.
from all of us.
So I'll just work my way down our normal list. We are moving forward on the Cat C countywide roads. We really haven't made a lot of projects. I will give the board the oversight that we have a brand new PDMG now, and his supervisor are new to us. He's only got a couple of months. So we are in what I affectionately call the FEMA death spiral again, with redoing information. The good news is we're starting to get to crunch time on some of these projects, so we're expecting to see some significant movement, hopefully in the near future. I'll start off with our most pressing issue, typically with the boat ramp. I will say that, so this project has been, the contract with Nordic has been presented. They've been given the scope and cost, and so now it's just a matter of validating that project. We are still looking for, hopefully, a letter from the board with some support for the fact of moving that boat ramp. There may be a requirement to do a benefit cost analysis on this project. We're not really sure where the numbers are going to come, and it's within a few percentage points of requiring one. We'd like to go ahead and prepare that in advance, and I don't know if you were in town when I sent the information to you, Commissioner Mobley, but anything that you can give us to support that, whether it be economic benefits, the impacts to the citizens in the community, and then the support that the board and the county has for relocating that boat ramp and enjoying the long time resilience that we intend for it to bring for us.
I'll get with you tomorrow. We'll get it done. I'll get with you tomorrow. We'll get it done.
Fantastic. The next one is Shoals Beach. So I'm not sure exactly where we are with the RFP for Shoals Park, but we should be fairly close. We should be.
I think everybody's just still reviewing them. We haven't
Okay.
set a date for, to go over our results bids yet.
We
Do-
are
Do we, let me ask you something, on these projects, do we have a deadline by which we need to have them out?
February 2026. February the 7th, I think, don't hold me on that date, but it's February 26th. The good news is we
Wait,
can
February
apply for-
26th is the deadline for what?
To have the projects completed.
To have them completed?
Yes, sir.
You mean constructed and built?
Yes, sir.
You mean in 4 months, 4.5 months?
Yes, sir.
There's an extension that
But we have the ability to extend. In fact, we are already talking right now about going ahead and asking for the extension for the boat ramp, since that's going to be our first project. And honestly, I'm being told from both the FEMA folks and the FDM folks that it's just basically a formality. They're going to push you to, within that 180 days, get your projects done. Unfortunately, we spent a year in that FEMA death spiral, and so we're a little bit behind. Here again, the permitting is the biggest thing, and we are right there. We're very close to starting to request the permits and file for that. But yes, February 2026 is the deadline for completion of the projects. No, we're not going to make that, I don't think, on a single one of the projects. We will be filing for an extension for almost every single one of our projects.
So what are we reviewing right now? Are we reviewing bids? We're reviewing, what are we reviewing?
we had to
What-
re-advertise the Shoals RFP because we only got the one in, and those bids came in. We actually have 3 in total now for that project. So the evaluation team is reviewing those now, and then we'll be ready to
They are
put those-
evaluating what?
The
RFP.
RFP.
The request for
The
proposals.
proposals that we'll receive.
So we got proposals sent back to us. We advertised a scope of work, right? I guess I'm a little bit, I'm understanding. We put out a request for proposals. We received some proposals.
Yes, sir.
They have to be ranked now before we can present to you. our
And they are
recommendation.
evaluated and ranked on what they're proposing to do because
Yes.
difference in scopes of what they're proposing?
Yes, the score sheets.
Scopes,
that we have.
the cost, the costing, their experience, their similarity and familiarity with projects of that same time, same type, kind, and size. There's a lot of criteria that we use in the evaluation process.
And is that for design and construction or just for the construction?
Design and construction.
Design and construction, they're both included.
Yeah, and permitting. You can't permit till you know what you're designing.
That's correct. The
Okay.
good news
So
is the
that's-
variances have been very, very minimal versus what our very first engineer estimates were from the onset. So this is actually one where there is a slight variance, and we're gonna need to go in and adjust this scope of work on the FEMA side, but
Okay.
it should be minimal. I'm not anticipating delays, significant delays on this.
So if I jump back to the boat ramp, we're still in the design stage at this point, correct? If we're talking about moving it still, and then we got to go through permitting.
So permitting is gonna happen, so we essentially have the design layout. We don't have plans yet, but we met with Nordic last week.
Mhm.
And so that process is actually fairly short. So what they're doing now is putting together what we need to submit to the different agencies for the permitting.
Okay. So we've already
But the
got
timeline for them hasn't changed, and with the original RFP, it's only for that particular project, 90 days of construction. So it's
Right.
the permitting side that's the big delay. The design, even in their projected timeline, the permitting is the chunk of time. They will have the design in a very short period of time. It's the permitting that's gonna take the longest amount of time.
We don't have an estimated date on how long that's gonna take. Maybe that's gonna be for a shot in the dark.
Just based off our conversation we had with them last week, I'm anticipating that in a matter of a few weeks. They were pretty locked in on whether, and again, this company is very experienced at doing this very specific kind of a project. So literally, the only thing that really is gonna take a little bit of extra time is what we've asked them to do on the mitigation side, which is what's left of the area where the boat ramp is gonna be removed from.
Okay.
We're not anticipating any significant delays at all in the design. The permitting process is the permitting process.
Okay.
Now, and again, we have the folks on board with the Unified Federal Review that are assisting us with speeding up. In fact, Aja Hay is the fellow's name, and he has actually requested to be on all of the conversations moving forward with Nordic to help speed that permitting process up and make sure we don't have unnecessary speed bumps, if that helps.
Okay.
So, Turner Cemetery Bridge, I'm happy to announce that we have finally gotten that process in. We're waiting for, again, FEMA to validate. It looks like that cost is going to be about $827,570, but that project is moving on very quickly. Steel Bridge has been submitted. We've got a little bit of a speed bump on this one on the FEMA side. They're still a little bit delayed in incorporating what we submitted with our signed contract with J.B. Coxwell. So that one's on the FEMA's waiting side.
So waiting on FEMA to sign off on the total cost, sign off on what is FEMA signing off on?
What they do is validate so we submitted a signed contract with a dollar amount. They're validating that, yes, that's a valid amount.
They're signing off on the final dollar, and with that, then do we give the go-ahead to J.B. Coxwell to construct?
We would then, and we can have those conversations as far as the notice to proceed, because I do think there's going to be some conversation with the board based off of the input that the board's given us previously on the proposal. And so I think there's conversations that once that dollar amount is validated by FEMA, then a conversation will need to take place between the county and the contractor and nail out the little things. Because remember, again, it was a proposal, so they had lots of things. If you remember specifically, purchasing of temporary right-of-ways and that kind of thing, the two-way traffic option for maintaining two-way traffic.
But I guess what I'm not understanding, Mr. Smith, is there's a proposal sent for FEMA to validate and sign off on. That's based on something. And so if it's based on what the project is, I'm not sure why we're now coming back making changes to that. That's what I'm misunderstanding. So what, I don't understand what they're valid.
The proposal only goes to FEMA as backup documentation. The proposal went out to the contractors that bid on it. The contract is what got forwarded to when the RFP award was made by the board for that particular contract. And now we need to tweak, and it's not as simple. It would be perfect if your scope of work's all lined up exactly with what's FEMA's interpretation on, but there's a little bit of a Thomas Allen Ferguson will have to speak on our behalf and make sure that they understand that everything that's in that contract is absolutely included in the scope of work we submitted, which is a very broad and general scope of work.
Okay.
And to clarify, it was all because we were working off of estimates and not working off of contracts. We're no longer working off of estimates, now we're working off of contracts, so it's real numbers, if that helps. So, next project.
There are more projects. We're in recess till public hearing at 6 o'clock.
He means
session, and we're gonna go into our public comments, our public meeting. And tonight, we'll be dealing with our final meeting, so I'm gonna read something that I can't hardly see, so I'm gonna read that. Baker County final millage and budget hearing. This public, I should do like Biden does and read chairman, county manager. No, I'm not gonna do. This public hearing is to present the final budget of Baker County to the public for comment, questions, and reviews, to make changes if desired by the county. This process for budget adoption is detailed precisely in the Florida statutes and must comply with those directives. The very first order of business is to discuss the final millage, the rollback millage rates, reasons for the increase of the ad valorem taxes. I will turn the discussion over to our county manager to make certain we meet all those communications.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name of the taxing authority is Baker County, Florida. The County Commission's final budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 reflects a millage rate of 7.2916. That millage can be compared to the current millage rate, which is the same at 7.2916, and to the rollback millage rate, which is 7.1253. The rollback rate is a calculation which brings in the same tax dollars next fiscal year as for this year, excluding new construction, additions, deletions, annexations, and improvements. I am required by statutes 200.0652E1 to state that percent increase of the final millage compared to the rollback rate is a positive number because it is an increase. The final rate is a 2.28% increase over the rollback rate, or in other terms, a 2.28% increase. The county's overall final budget is $49,376,508 and breaks down as follows. General fund, $17,429,623. Fine and forfeiture, $9,569,964. Road and bridge, $4,815,078. Road paving, $5,475,125. Corrections, $4,328,889. Other expenses, $7,957,829.
Sir, that next sentence is it does represent a millage increase.
Okay. This does represent a millage increase. The property values increased this year by 4.92%. See that now, Rich? Thank you. The commission voted 5-0 to set the max millage rate at 7.2916. This increase would allow the county to better fund the provision of essential services to our citizens. The budget reflects the draft budget reviewed by the commission through numerous budget workshops conducted over the past few months and presented for first hearing the evening of September 9th, 2025, and for second hearing and adoption this evening, September 23rd, 2025.
I will entertain a motion to read the resolution regarding the millage by title.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-17, read by title.
Second.
Resolution 2025-17, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Baker County, Florida, adopting the final millage rate levying of ad valorem taxes for Baker County for fiscal year 2025-2026, providing for an effective date.
We will now open the public hearing on our final millage discussion. Hearing nothing from the public, we'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Sarah?
Commissioner Hartley?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett?
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley?
Yes.
Commissioner Mann?
Yes.
I will entertain a motion to read the resolution regarding. I see you sticking. It passed unanimously. Okay. I will entertain a motion to read the resolution regarding the final budget by title.
Approve resolution 2025-18, read by title.
Second.
Resolution 2025-18, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Baker County, Florida, adopting the final budget for fiscal year 2025-2026, providing for an effective date.
We will now open the public hearing for final budget discussions. Hearing none, we'll ask for a roll call vote. Ms. Sarah?
Commissioner Hartley?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett?
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley?
Yes.
Commissioner Mann?
Yes.
Resolution passes unanimously.
Thank you. And we'll go into our next item on the agenda, which is the final plan approval.
Good evening.
Howdy, howdy.
So I just have one thing for you this evening. So as we discussed last meeting, right before we passed the resolution to administratively approve the final plats, we had two plats that, or two subdivisions that were approved that you all had wished to see the covenants and restrictions for. So you saw one of those last meeting, and this is the second one tonight. The subdivision was named Cameron Crossing. So you should have, this is a two page plat. The first page you'll see is all the signatures. This has already been sent out for review to all of the necessary authorities, surveyor, engineer, everyone's already approved and revisions have been made. So the first page has your signatures there, and then the second page is actually the detailed lot layout that will be recorded. The specific items that we had spoke about during the subdivision process, you'll find part of them on page 3 of the covenants and restrictions that you have. Property rights and maintenance obligations. So on page 3 is broken down the responsibility of the declarant to maintain those. It kind of defines where those easements are and what they are to be used for on page 3 and 4. It also talks about on page 4 association maintenance and how they will be responsible for maintenance, control, and improvement of the common areas. And then if you look to page 13, one of the things that we had spoke about in this area was street parking and vehicles being allowed to park on the street versus in the driveway. So there is some verbiage in here about restrictions for parking on the street. And then the last thing that I wanted to point out is on page 23. It starts on page 23. It's Article 9, and it defines the rights and easements reserved by the declarant. And it goes into the utility easements, the drainage easements. It also discusses future easements if there was a need for an additional drainage easement or utility easement. And then that continues on page 24 as well. So these were reviewed as well by all of the reviewing agencies, and they felt that it met the parameter that you guys were looking for when we had those previous discussions.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I need to recuse myself from this vote due to a conflict of interest. I'll follow the required disclosure form.
All right, thank you, sir.
Question for you. On this, since these restrictions are part of the HOA covenants, they are enforced by the HOA.
They are.
The parking restrictions for parking more than 6 hours and all these things, if somebody is in violation of that, it's not going to be the local law enforcement office that's going to come and have to write tickets or anything for that. It would be an enforcement issue where the HOA has the right to call a tow truck to come remove it and things. Am I correct so far?
It would be looked at, it's my understanding it would be looked at as a civil process.
And maybe I can help. You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to make sure that these restrictions are not putting a
Yes.
burden on
No.
the law office. That's what I want to be,
Yeah.
be clear of this, because when these are required, it is an infraction that the HOA has to take steps to get the cars off the road and stuff, not our local
It
law
would be
enforcement.
treated like other towaway zones
Okay.
and public parking.
Thank you.
Anything else?
What do you need from us tonight?
Motion to approve the plat.
And then from this point forward, we
Sarah will
would
take it.
go through that administrative process that was laid out in that resolution.
Do we have a resolution?
Make a motion to
It's not a
approve.
motion, it's just approving the plat.
Make a motion to approve the plat.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Budget be quick and painless tonight, so.
That closes our public hearing. Go back into our regular scheduled meeting. If I can find where I put my.
Dennis is back up. Dennis is back up.
Oh, Lord, he's mad at me now.
I can never be mad at you, Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Dennis, I'm sorry I had to cut you off, but we was approaching on that.
No worries. And
Danger
so if I can
zone.
kind of summarize a little bit for you, Commissioner Bennett. The process is we put out the RFPs to the contractor. Those come back there, we award the RFP and then sign a contract. We submit that contract to FEMA, who then compares that against what they view is acceptable, eligible scope of work and what is acceptable for cost and all the included monies that are involved. And then once FEMA signs off on, yes, these are matched. We had the benefit of, we gave them a fairly narrow descriptions in the RFPs, so the scopes came back amongst the different ones, even with small changes in there, they came back very similar. Does that help answer your question? Okay. So we're moving on now to Copper Creek. This week, I can proudly report that we signed and agreed to a mitigation proposal for this project, which brings the total FEMA dollar amount to about $141,000. It was $110,000 is what they determined was not, that was Debbie damage. And then we proposed some mitigation to harden and make it more resilient, and they approved an additional $30,500, something like that. And so this project is just shy of being ready to be obligated. Recalling again that the lion's share of this $1 million plus or minus project is the county's responsibility, and only $141,000 will come from FEMA as far as reimbursement goes.
What'd you say the estimated total was?
Pardon me?
What's the estimated total?
Help me, Chris. For Copper Creek, it's 1 point.
So millions on us. Okay.
And the 141 is a little bit flexible. We requested again that they use the CFS costing. So there's some soft, so when I say it's around 141, there is some wiggle room if we run into some extra design stuff or whatever on there that they can incorporate in. Next project is Cat B spot, which is obligated. We're golden. Cat C, the culverts. We're currently hung, and I answered today the question, I think I said for the 6th time, with a GPS location that wound up on somebody's house in the Cruise Road. We're just hung in that process, waiting on FEMA to get their feet underneath of them. So one of the agreements we made with this new PDMG and the new TFL, which is the team leader for the PDMG, is that we're going to focus on 2 projects right now. We are focusing on the boat ramp first and Turner Cemetery Bridge second. Those 2 projects, which is kind of continuation of the agreement we had with the last PDMG, which is Those are our templates. Once we've got those through, we just replicate the process for all of the FEMA death spiral, replicate that process for those first two, and then we should hopefully then see a reduction in the amount of time that we're spending on these projects, getting them to obligation. The last project I have to cover with you is a Helene Cat B project, and we ran into some issues. So there were some windshield wipers that were claimed as an expense that was specific to Hurricane Debbie that we were called to remove. And then the sign at the fire department. And where that really boiled down to was we didn't do the work quick enough to fall under a Category B project. We could have put it under a Category C or possibly another project lane. Unfortunately, that project, what we spent on replacing the sign, didn't meet the minimum project thresholds, so we had to remove that she's gone. I think it was $2,700 plus or minus that we had to remove.
It was around 28.
So we reduced the overall project by the price of the windshield wipers and the price of the repairing the sign, and so now that project is moving forward. With that would have been my 15 minutes, I'm sure.
You're doing pretty good. You're doing real good. There you go.
I'd be happy to take any questions if you have.
Yes, sir.
Denny, for these projects, there's a lot of different moving parts, and you get into a lot of details when you come up. But the really question I want to make sure of is, are you getting the support from every office that you need in order to keep this thing moving forward? Where's the slow process? Is it FEMA in the process, or are we getting everything responded back in a timely manner?
As far as these projects, I would say that we haven't really been waiting on the county for these projects. The county, we've been waiting on FEMA. And that death spiral that I'm referencing, it's a problem internally that they just don't know how to fix.
Okay, but I get a death spiral with FEMA. It's not my concern. I can't solve FEMA's. My question is, on our side, are we getting things turned around very timely to get it back? That's what it really comes down to. What we can control. We can't control the death spiral with FEMA, with them changing project managers, but the reaction times we get and the responses that you get, are you getting everything you need from county departments is really what I'm getting to.
I would say, in the essence of answering the questions on the timeliness, there are things that we can do better. We can move forward quicker. We had a discussion tonight with Chris, the Copper Creek project. There's no reason for that project to be delayed for anything, because again, such a small percentage of its reimbursement. So that project could be moving forward.
I'm making a point for a simple reason, because here's why. Been from the governmental side too long, looking at things like this. If we're not doing everything we can to keep it moving forward, they're not nearly as inclined to try to give you time extensions. And so I'm asking the question, are we getting everything done back timely? Or are you lacking responses? Is it not a priority? And that's why I'm asking. If the answer is everything is great, that's fine. But if it's not, is there things that we need to do differently internally with different departments to get responses?
As far as these FEMA projects, it's not the county.
Okay.
The exception would be Schultz Park, which is just a delay in getting that RFP evaluated, approved, get the contract signed, get those awards. Those were definitely a little bit of a snag, but to be honest with you, in the big picture of things, the FEMA is the holdup.
Okay.
We're pushing as hard as we can push on the county, and the county departments have been responsive.
And all of these are, because I think sometimes they start running together for me. This FEMA issues and all that is a totally separate issue from all the stuff that we end up discussing about the NFIP. Or are they tied? Are they tied together in any way?
So they're tied together because I'm kind of heading that thing up. So if you're asking about that process, I do think there's things we can do better. I do think that we can be more responsive, more timely. I think we can improve. Had a conversation with the Commissioner Chair last week, and we have, even as late as this afternoon, are now taking a different approach. I am taking a little bit more of the leadership of kind of bringing everyone in together and getting the responses and getting things done. So it's approved, but we definitely have some gaps in some of the other things. Not these projects here, but for the NFIP, for the CRS, we definitely have some gaps there where we can improve.
If that's helping you, I've been staying on top of those and working through those and having meetings, not only with Mr. Blanchard and Dennis. I've been talking with staff. I think what we have is an overrun of email. What we need is a point of contact. And I talked to Mr. Blanchard about this and Dennis last week. I think just bull rushing these emails out to everybody is kind of confusing. We need a point of contact in each individual. The county needs a point of contact. The clerk, whoever, right down the line needs a point of contact. And that's who we can manage the velocity of all these emails. Because I get them too. And I'm like riding down the road trying to read them, and I shouldn't say that, but anyway, so I've took, for the county, Sarah, and everybody knows what she's going through on the financial side of the county right now, is overloaded. So, in my infinite wisdom, and I'm hoping the board will approve, I've asked Mr. Ladonna to step up and take over all the incoming email and all the scheduling and all the meetings that they're requesting to get focused through LaDonna so she can handle more of that. I'm not saying LaDonna ain't busy, but she's got more time than Sarah does. But a lot of this has to do with her anyway. So I have asked, maybe I shouldn't, but I asked LaDonna if she would head it up, and then she can keep Miss Sarah informed on what's going on and when Sarah needs to be there, and instead of going to LaDonna, going to Sarah, and then you get all this confusion we just need to settle down and put one point of contact. I find that a lot easier to work with than trying to get everybody in a bucket. And I've talked to John and Dennis about that, and they both know about it. They both agree that it's a good idea, so that's what we're going to do moving forward on the county side. Now, if you need I know that Tim and them's working with you great. We know that the clerk, we have issues there, but we don't have the staff over there yet. We're working on that, and Sarah's trying to help mitigate that. And that's one of the reasons I want more focus going to LaDonna handling these issues than to Sarah, because she's trying to handle the clerk.
She's trying to do the finance department's job.
Well,
You're being nice about it.
I'm always trying to be nice if I can. But that's where we're at, and I've explained that to them last week. I got with them, and everything's good. So let's start working that route, and see if communications will get better.
Yes, sir. In fact, working with LaDonna this afternoon, we've already kind of started heading some of those things.
Well, that's good. And
so,
then of course, Dennis is always gung-ho and volunteers his services. The sheriff might not know about it yet, so you might not want to tell him. But he's put on another hat to try to get in there and help us a lot. And what you and John have done, we appreciate it. Yes. We know what y'all got your hearts for the county. Sometimes you kind of rambunctious and want things done. You might want to work on that a little bit. But other than that, you do a pretty good job.
Mr. Blanchard's the sugar on the spice, so it's a role that I have to sit back and let him take over, but it's time.
Well, y'all do a good job. We appreciate it. But let's get our communications a little better. I think it's going to solve all those issues.
My primary reason I'm asking is because of what I recall from some of the previous meetings and discussions was the fact that if we did not have this program in place, we were in jeopardy of losing all these federal funds for any of these projects. And so if that's not being done and responsive, then we could very well be losing money after all this work that's being put into it. And that's where we don't want to end up. So
yes, sir.
if y'all got it, good.
I've already had a meeting.
I know you've already had
My
one meeting
second,
before.
Maybe
so,
third meeting I've already had about the same issues. And I've had all county staff, all of the constitutionals was there. Everybody was there. On behalf of the board, I was trying to stress the importance of exactly what you just said. That we don't want to lose money for the
That's
county,
right.
or we don't want any people in our community not to be able to get this money because of the lack of what we've done. And I think I made my point nice, but assertive, that we need to all work together and meet this one goal.
That's right. And recognizing, again, we've agreed and the sheriff has allowed us to step up and part of this process is we're almost through this hurricane season, and the next hurricane season is coming right back in June. And one of the places we really need to, and I need to improve, is getting the rest of the county and those folks who aren't able, shorthanded and issues that we're dealing with countywide, it looks like, not just in one section, is getting those folks prepared, because the next hurricane season, our expectation is the county folks will pick up and with some like training issues and that kind of thing, and that's another area where we need an improvement there, because we're not getting the responses. I will say that LaDonna was very quickly responding, got signed up for the trainings. Mr. Sweat's office very quickly responded. But we have 2 trainings come up that we brought into Baker County. I do have I think a bunch of firefighters maybe there, because there's a bunch of folks that I don't recognize. They are from Baker County, but I don't know them. But the number of our partners, the folks in the departments that have signed up for the 2 trainings we specifically brought in to help them, is very low. I think I have three folks, and we were anticipating a need of somewhere around 30 of our county personnel that need to participate in the FROC training and the disaster damage assessment training, and we have not had the response there that we were hoping for.
Well, we can work through, Donna, y'all can kind of get together and send out individual emails to that specific person that you think needs to be there, and see if we can't get them to respond.
Sometimes.
And maybe a phone call.
Sarah, some folks may need to be voluntold
Well,
instead of volunteered.
One of those trainings, the email just went out this afternoon too, right?
That was the follow-up, so I think Director Blanchard went out late this afternoon on the FROC, but that training, that actually went out 8:15, I think was when it first went out. But it went out to basically everybody that would have a hand in the largest part. That's the clerk's office. It's not just the finance director, it's also the clerk. I mean, those are the folks that handle the finances, and the FROC thing is you can't file for reimbursement to Florida without using that system. So it never makes it to FEMA until you use that system. Can I answer any other questions? Thank you for your opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay. I see it as an action item. I don't think there's any action.
No, it's information.
Barber Point subdivision road improvements, Mr. Lee.
Good evening, Commissioners. Okay, I have been asked to see if I can get this approved for what we're doing on the county side of this, which is basically just turn lanes.
What we are doing or what they're doing?
Well,
Or we are requiring.
what we're required, so basically when they started this whole process, our first thing was we didn't like the size of the turn lanes and stuff, and there was a bunch of issues that we had. I got with an engineer, Mr. Pittman. He took the plans, he looked at everything, and he came back with the changes that he wanted made, how he wanted the turn lanes, and got everything situated. Of course, then everything happened with the city, so everything got put on hold. So now everything is coming back around, and Mr. Schofield has asked us to get a letter of approval, if possible, for the plans that are attached.
I think tonight we just want to talk about it and get comments
tonight
from
is
the board
basically
and input on the traffic study, and then bring it back.
Yeah, because there was a traffic study done in 2022. I don't have that in front of me. I think it was October of 2022, which is old.
They have
But
a copy. You want it?
I just didn't. It's still sitting at my desk. But in the traffic study, when we got the new plans in, he sent the new plans over to me. I called Mr. Pittman back and I said, "Can you take a look at this?" And he looked at it again and he said, "Everything looks fine." And on top of that, they've gone from 367 lots on this project down to 300. So that actually made the traffic study will actually be better off than it actually is showing. So from there, it's more of a discussion to see there. Mr. Bennett, you asked us about to make sure there was no way we could get a road between different areas in there. Was that the same project? That was this project, right? To go from Copper Creek to...
What I indicated is making certain that there is no opportunity for them to come back and change the subdivision to try to put a connection out to Louder Street between Copper Creek Hills entrance and the creek. That property on the north side of the creek is shown as a future phase, and it should have the connection back across the creek back into the subdivision, so that at the end of the day, the only two access points is the main entrance as well as the existing roadway at the Golf Course Drive, I think it's called, Golf Course Road.
Yes.
That's the 2 points, and unless I'm mistaken, that's also where the traffic study indicated they need to have left turn lanes and I think potentially right turn lanes.
Yes. And they are in.
I don't think are the plans calling for a right-hand turn lane?
Well, it's not a true turn lane, it's just where it gets wider so that they can get off the road as they're making their turn.
And I'm not as, me personally, this is me, I'm not as concerned about the right turn as I am the left turn lane, because left turn is, you have to wait on opposing traffic. Right turn lane is a free flow, you just have to slow down a bit. But that opposing left absolutely needs to be in there.
Yes. And as far as, okay, now that I completely understand what you're talking about, as far as making the connection between the two, that would be a significant bridge that would have to go across that. That wouldn't just be a road. That would be a significant bridge to get across to that little parcel.
And again, not the county's challenge. The fact is this: having a connection, trying to come out on the Louder Street between the creek and Copper Creek Drive is a significant safety issue. And so whatever we approve, it needs to be with a caveat that clearly understands, because I see now on this particular one, and I'm looking at the phase, a future north phase, and it shows that connection out. That is not acceptable. I've seen plans after we originally looked at this that said that it wouldn't be connected, and it showed it connected through the site itself. So that connection that they're showing, and there's that graphic that shows a subdivision, shows lots coming out and a new access onto Louder Street, is absolutely not acceptable. That is a significant safety issue, and if the development wants to build it, that's fine. If they won't, they can put pedestrian walkways across there and make it a park. Doesn't matter to me what they want to do with their property, except for what the county can control is the access points. And 2 access points to this 300 lot subdivision is ample access points for them, and they need to route all internal development for that site in there. So whatever approvals that we send back needs to have that very clearly stated, that there'd be no future connections.
What we send back is a recommendation as far as what our position is. I think the city's the one that has to make that decision.
Well,
the city's still going through this. Everything hasn't been approved, right?
No,
the settlement agreement is approved. The only thing they're doing is an engineering review of the plans.
Okay.
And what we can be very clear of on the city can prove what they want, but from our standpoint, though, it needs to be in writing before the city ultimately approves everything, that says we are not going to approve an access connection at this location.
And maybe,
or the county is opposed to an access
right,
connection.
that's what I said. Maybe a little stronger. Say that we're opposed to an
We're
additional
opposed,
access connection.
and all access for the entire site should be made through the 2 existing connections to connect to Louder Street.
Okay.
We need to be on record up front.
You know, based on.
Or are we going to be sitting in a lawsuit
Right,
here?
so is that something that we send that letter?
We state our
or
position.
Do we send this letter to the city?
To the city.
Based on this position, based on that diagram you just looked at, the overlay, there's only one entrance to Louder. The Golf Course Road is for a future south phase. Because there's nothing that connects
There's
to Golf
been,
Course Road.
I'm quite sure there's been modifications to that. I've seen different from that, and
then this one is still valid.
graphics since this study. I've seen graphics that show.
This was from the city. This is the final. That's what is an engineering review right now. But we can verify that to make sure. But yes, sir, this is the most recent one we just got last week from the city.
So you're talking about an exit or entrance from down the creek up toward Copper Creek to the left.
Yes.
They're thinking-
You know where the house
Is there
driveway, you know there's a house across the road there?
Yeah.
Basically a driveway right there. So they're trying to look at people coming this way,
Down the
as well
hill.
as people coming around that curve and over the hill at Copper Creek and pulling out there. It's,
Is
The-
there, there'd be enough property there to,
I'm,
I guess
uh,
there is.
and unless,
lift station.
So they don't wanna put a bridge in.
they do not want to put a bridge
'Cause of
from that
cost.
property behind Copper Creek across over into the subdivision. They want just another connection out for that one little area, so it's not part of the subdivision. It's a totally separate one. It's
Oh,
a,
so it would only be for those homes that are,
yes,
whatever they could fit in that one area, right?
Well, it depends on how they build it.
if
Well, I
they
mean,
don't
without
make
a
it, con-
bridge,
if they
they
don't
could.
put a bridge
Right.
across the creek,
If they
Yeah,
didn't,
that's what I
then-
mean.
then that's what I'm saying. If they're going to put a bridge across the creek, and they should, and I know we've had discussions about this, and I wanted to take a chance to run through this because I am pretty
This-
sure this was part of the
This is what
conversation
I'm
with this.
looking at on the picture. Future south phase is using Golf Course Road. The phase they're presenting tonight has one access. Future north phase shows access to County Louder on the, just like he said, on the north side of the creek, south side of Copper Creek.
Well, I think we need, if we're not going to agree to that, we need to talk now.
But I'm just saying that from what I'm looking at here, is the Golf Course Road will not be used until they do the south phase
So where's their exit at now?
on Louder, one exit.
Is it between, I can't read these.
It's between the golf course and the creek.
It's between the Golf Course Road and the creek, which I have no problem with that, but I'm not sure why they're not using Golf Course Road too in the first phase.
Yeah,
I would.
correct me if I'm wrong, is that up to us?
No.
No, it's up to the city, but you can
Right.
state your
You
opinion on it.
ask.
So you can state your position on it because ultimately that traffic burdens and affects county roads. So that's why you want to communicate to the city kind of what your
And-
thoughts are.
And the county approves access to the county roads. If the city wants the access, which I'm not in favor of, I'm not even going to go there, the county makes a decision as to what access connections can happen on our county roads.
So, but you can also, I'm trying to think through just possibilities. You can ask for the city to require as part of the development approval that they improve certain aspects of the county road that are within the radius that show that the traffic studies would burden our roads. So it may require a turn lane onto a county road. It may require them to install some sort of traffic device like stoplight. So there are different things that you can suggest, and your background at this is better than anyone else in this room, as far as if it ends up where they do go forward with that approval, what things would have to happen to a county road to make sure that we don't end up creating safety problems for our citizens that are in the non-incorporated part of the county.
And I despise a report that doesn't put an executive summary at the front of it. Because now you've got to search through an entire report to try to find the recommendations. And it's not close to the front. And I don't even see the recommendations here.
I'm looking through on Exhibit A of the site plan. It does show an entrance onto Golf Course Road, Golf Club Road, I'm sorry.
Where are you at?
Well, that ain't what I'm looking at.
I know, I just found it on
What
Exhibit
page are you
A,
on?
site plan. So scroll to the back.
It's hard to.
Go past the traffic study.
Yeah.
There's an Exhibit A. And it shows the lot sizes. You got the squares and the circles. So if you go, I see a page 11, it would be considered page 12. That was before,
Yeah, I know, but I'm looking at,
So it's under the legal description.
yes. You see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can
Got squares and
see that.
circles indicating lot sizes.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yep, so that shows an entrance, ingress, egress on the golf club road. at that
yes,
point.
that's what I recall.
Because there's another turn lane, which was in the set of plans, under the profiles, that shows a left-hand turn lane onto Golf Club Road, as well as a left-hand turn lane and widening at both intersections, but this one goes into the subdivision. I'm not sure the name of that.
And
road.
they call that entrance here
Barber Point Road.
Barber Point
Yes.
Road. That's what
The
they
main
call the main
entrance.
entrance.
So they'll be, what they're proposing is 2 left-hand turn lanes
Right.
and
okay.
widening at both intersections.
That makes more sense.
And that's what I recall, this
Yes.
final recommendation, the traffic study was, is that they had those locations. We had, there was conversation over here about this access connection down here at Golf Club Road. I was pretty sure that there was a connection into there. And there was previous conversations about the property for Phase 4 and that it would not have an access out to Louder Street. And so that's the ultimate recommendation. So,
So are you showing phase 4 is the one on the north end?
yes,
Like
Phase 4 is
okay,
the
I
one that
understand
backs
phase 4.
up to Copper Creek.
And in this one, I don't even see a phase 4.
I
It,
don't
it
either.
doesn't, they had
don't
dropped
show
it
it.
off of here.
They dropped it
They had dropped that.
Which this one doesn't have the road.
because they don't want to build the bridge across the,
They don't have the road going across.
And
it.
that
It's
could be
stuck
where the
out in.
67 homes were at, that
they
they dropped
dropped,
off.
they dropped them.
And
There was only 24 indicated on the other plan.
That was removed.
Mm-hmm.
I got the email that said.
yeah, they may have dropped 67 out of the overall site, but
Right.
at the end of the day, what was on the plat that on what was submitted for the traffic study. Now, I think what happened is what you see in this first portion is what was submitted for the traffic study. When the traffic study come back and we sent our comments and things back, one of the key issues that we had was no access point over between the creek and Copper Creek was one. You need to make the connection through this golf course road or whatever, and they went back and made those modifications and changes, and that's what you see now in this last set of plans. It's Barber Point PUD site plan concept. That's what they're showing. That's why that's why you don't see any homes on that north of the creek, and that's why you see the connections made back through here, and you don't see that stub out for a future, because this is the ultimate 7, and I'm good with this proposed plan that's in the exhibit for the site plan, Exhibit A for the site plan. I'm good with it, but we still need to reiterate that we are objected to any access connections north of whatever
North of
creek
the
that
creek
is,
to
between
Louder.
creek and the north side.
Okay.
Any future phases must have connections back into whatever site, phases 1 and 2.
Barber Point.
And where the primary access being at Barber Point. That's what ended up happening. The original study had that point there. That was where everybody was opposed to it. It come back and was modified. These were what
Yeah.
they resolved and worked out.
And on this plan right here, I'm not sure if they're going to try to make that into a park or something, but it says open space, about 15 acres.
Yep.
Which
That's-
is, yeah, I see it here where they left the house out in that one area, so that you could actually utilize that to get across if you wanted to.
And they could put a little walkway bridge,
Walkway,
golf cart
walkway,
bridge.
yeah.
It don't have to be a vehicular bridge. There's already one there, by the way. Not that I would know because of riding an ATV over there.
Well,
But
I used to drive my golf
I
cart
wouldn't-
across.
I
it, so
wouldn't-
know
I was
there's
gonna say,
one
there
there.
used to be one.
I wouldn't know that with firsthand experience, but nonetheless, because if you look at their original layout here, it did have that there. So, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the turn lanes as proposed as part of the exhibit site plan A that shows the turn lanes at Barber Point Road as well as at Golf Club Road. Those full left turn lanes at both locations as shown, I'm good with those. The background traffic since 21 to now has not changed significantly to enough that would have changed the outcomes of those of the report. So
Go ahead.
I'm done.
You done? I would make the recommendation here to between the two turn lanes, there's an area. I would say I would hate to go from existing asphalt to new asphalt to existing to new back to existing. So I would consider from the beginning of construction coming up from the creek going south. So from the beginning of construction limit there to the end of construction limit, further down south.
Repave the whole.
Yeah.
Just resurface that section through there.
At least mill and resurface between the two.
Resurface with paved shoulders.
Correct. Between the two. It looks like they're on the typical right of way. Does it show sidewalks at that point? If so, I'm not sure where the sidewalks begin or end going that way. There's not any of that going on.
Are they going to have sidewalks on?
I'm sure they'll have it on Louder. That's what she said. I don't think there's sidewalks that far north.
It doesn't look like it on the plan.
We don't have any on the plan. There's none that
I
way.
think they should.
That's a
That
recommendation.
ship
And
unfortunately kind of
that's, the
sailed.
sidewalks on that road, I believe, is only on the east side.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Rich, with that being a county road, we still couldn't talk about sidewalks as part of the roadway improvement?
Yeah, we can't.
You
Wow.
could, depending on if we had sufficient
DOT
right of way
won't
to do
allow
it.
us to do sidewalks.
Okay.
But with the widening and
Well, I mean,
everything
not
else
with the
as
road building. We can get
Sure.
possibly get a grant for sidewalks.
No, the developer.
Oh,
As part of the
yeah.
development,
Yeah.
sidewalks extension from where they end to this development is what you're asking about?
Well, the
Could that
problem
be a
is
part
you
of
can't
our-
build a sidewalk to nowhere.
Well,
There's no
yeah,
sidewalks either
there's
to
no
it.
sidewalk on the west side of the road.
It's kinda hard
at
to
all. It's
I think
strictly
if you
on
did
the east side.
If you did it on the east side, I think that's what Commissioner Hartley's asking, if on the east side of the roadway,
Yes.
from the development back to where they end,
Yes,
is what you're asking.
yes.
Um,
Because we're gonna be in the same thing we're at in Glen, where that sidewalk, and you got people walking them down that road, and it's so dangerous on 125, and almost every day I see somebody walking, just about.
Okay, so that would be the last, there's two properties between the end of the sidewalk and the creek on the east
Can't be
side.
that far, it doesn't seem like.
Um,
I guess it's hard to
I
tell
don't-
where
yeah, I
they're
don't know.
actually entrance.
I
mean, how
don't
far-
know the actual footage.
it ends
I
at golf
can't
course.
tell either, it's hard to read this.
Yeah, it doesn't show enough over on that side. Well, the sidewalk stops not far after the original golf course entrance.
Right.
So it would be there the whole rest of the, basically the whole rest of the project. Because you
We can make a recommendation. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but we can make a recommendation that sidewalks be run from where they end to pass where the second entrance into the development is. There's no sense in running them any further, you're going into the creek.
all it's gonna do is go into the creek.
Yeah, yeah.
So just basically get past there.
So if they're walking
I
across,
just know
they can
there's
cross
gonna
the road
be
right there and they can walk
Foot
down the
traffic
sidewalk.
from there to McLean easily.
So we can make a recommendation from sidewalks from where they end out of the city on the east side of Louder Street until it passes with their second entrance into the
Okay.
subdivision.
It would, just to be clear, it would be within their limits of construction
Right.
because their turn lane for that Sands,
It's gonna take
for the
all
golf
the-
course road, it would start south of where the,
Correct.
it would start where the sidewalk exists.
Right.
So they'd be widening out all the way through that whole section. So they could very easily connect into that. And for them to widen onto that one side, they're going to already be impacting the ditch and everything anyway. So they have to solve that challenge for drainage, and they should be able to put a sidewalk along there as well, because you are right, there's that area does walk. We get folks walking, they walk all the way down and across the bridge as well. So I think that's a great point, especially if we want to continue to make our area walkable and user-friendly, that should be included. So that's a great point on that.
At that point, would you recommend a crosswalk there with flashing lights and stuff? You know, I think you're coming from the east side to the west side is where the existing one is. So it'd be
I
something to
would
look
think
into.
so, you'd have to have something. there.
Right. At least a flashing light crosswalk.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Summarize. Summarize our request.
I got notes on all these pages. Okay, we want to repave the existing, basically of the limits of the construction site itself, mill and resurface, not just the turn lanes. We don't want any access at all between the creek and Copper Creek, out to 23. We're going to extend the sidewalk to the north side of the Barber Point entrance from the existing sidewalk on the east side of the road. Phase 4 will only be used, can only be used for park, recreation, whatever. No houses to be allowed in there.
I don't think we could really talk about that.
Yeah.
What we can say is no access
No
connection
Right.
or roadway connection to Louder Street.
Right.
They're not going,
If they put a house there, they're gonna have to have a way to get the people from.
Across
it's
the
not going to
creek.
be cost
Right.
effective for them to put houses there. They'll find something else to do with it.
Yeah, a
So they're
park
not-
would actually
it ain't
be
gonna be
better.
a-
Be
You ain't gonna
nice
make enough
for-
money
be
to
nice
build-
for a park,
You ain't gonna make enough money to build a
green
bridge
area.
across there for 20-something houses.
And
And
a
this is-
crosswalk with a flashing light
Yeah.
at the sidewalk.
Okay, I didn't write that down. When did y'all say that?
You
Y'all
were
said that
taking
when
a
I was
note.
walking, talking.
Mr. Mobley.
Mr. Mobby brought that up in
For
his
the people to
infinite
be able to
wisdom.
cross from the east side of the road to the west side of the road safely, where the sidewalk will be.
Okay, and we're gonna do that at the main entrance of Arbor Point?
I mean,
Yes.
you can do it there. You can do it at where the existing sidewalk is. You can bring it down the west side, and at the connection point, you can make it there.
I'm sure an engineer's going to tell you where to put that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Whatever the safest place.
They're not going to take our recommendation. They're going to.
Yeah.
All we're
Wherever
gonna do
they
is
deem
ask for-
appropriate.
And this is for a flashing light, not a red light.
Flash
Yeah, I
light.
mean,
Just
Just
a
a
crosswalk.
I see them all the time. I mean, it's just a crosswalk, flashing crosswalk.
Yeah, if somebody's there, it
Yeah.
Correct.
starts.
Okay. Okay, I think I got everything.
If not, we have the audio to
Yes.
go back and listen to one more time.
Okay, any other questions on that? Because that's just information, we're not doing action on that.
Yeah, we'll get that back to the developer. I'm sure they're listening in. They knew this was on the agenda tonight, so I'm sure they're listening to the conversation. But Chris and I will get with them this week and share this with them, and then we'll have it back on an agenda for formal action after we have the chance to speak with them.
Okay, item number 9, approval of task order.
Okay, it's, this is for a task order for, it's with Pittman Engineering, and it is for design of the new Public Works Department, where we're moving to out on 90. And basically, I grabbed the wrong task order, so I don't have the numbers with me.
$63,805.
Thank you. So, we've got that in the budget from last year. And what we're basically doing is we need to get, some kind of design put together so we can get it fenced in and start utilizing some of that property for, right now, just for storage. Eventually buildings and all, but for stockpiling, lime rock, dirt and everything else. So we've got the money in the budget for this right now. We're gonna try to roll that extra money over. We got 100,000 on that. And then we also got 100,000 on the building that we're gonna try to roll forward into the next budget for in-kind services if we're able to get some match money, right?
We did submit a state appropriation request for this one in the current year, but it didn't get funded. So I'm not sure if we want to look at it again. We're going to have some more conversations with Chuck's office on that to see if that's something they think we need to resubmit.
Is that property connected to Florida Power and Light?
It's surrounded by
That's
ponds.
what I thought.
And we're basically gonna be in the middle of it. There's some wetlands in the middle. of it. There's an area where the wetlands run into the center and then run out and over to the one side. So what we need to do is, in their submittal, they're gonna go in and topo the whole property. That way they can establish exactly where those are, and if we're allowed to put some pipes in there just for crossings, because on the northwest corner, there's a big area there for stockpiling lime rock, dirt, millings, whatever it is. Same thing on the west side, or the east side of the property. But again, we got to cross over a ditch there, and then everything else will be in the front. So right now, we're basically just getting so we can fence the thing in and start utilizing some of that property because we're running out of room. We're having a hard time replacing and or having a place to park everything. So we need to establish some more room for storage stuff under lock and key.
I also thought, and I talked to Chris about it, if we go ahead and get the engineering, design, the plans, and all that stuff, we can actually start pushing this at the state level and trying to get funding. But it's better when you have a plan, a design, and everything that you need to present than just saying this is a wish list of what we want to do. And then we can see we're actually moving forward with the process. So anything we spend now is going to be benefit to us on trying to get a grant.
Well, we've had that property for years and years.
2005, I think we acquired that property. Yes, sir.
For softball, baseball.
Yes, sir. And then it came back too wet to do anything with it. Yes, sir.
So I'm asking for approval for the task order for Pittman Engineering to go ahead and get that going. Now, this doesn't include permitting and stuff like this. Is basically to get us the design. And so we'll know what we got to do. And he said this number, he actually even told me this number might go down a little bit as long as we can keep the hardscapes under 2 acres, which I don't think that's going to be an issue because we got a total of 3 acres now. So I think we're going to be fine with that. So the price might actually come down a little bit from that.
What's the pleasure of the board? Questions?
Does this include a wetland delineation?
That's where he's going to do the topo and everything. Like I said, I didn't.
Yes, conduct wetland and wildlife exploration and delineation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, because we need to know exactly where that is because that's going to make a big difference in what you ultimately lay out. So he's doing a wetland delineation. I'm going to encourage, as we move through this process, we need to make sure the site works.
Exactly, and
we need to make sure
we know
it
that
works
now.
for what we do. We don't need to go through and build something there if it ain't working. If
Right.
this isn't the site that will work, then we need to at some point make the call that this ain't the right site. And so if we got a huge wetland right in the middle with a donut hole, if it doesn't work for operationals, that's one thing. If we have to bite the bullet and do a one-time issue with wetland mitigations, then we may need to take a look at doing some of that. So while the first thing is to avoid wetlands, it shouldn't be avoided at an entire impact operations for the next 30 years because of one-time avoidance.
Right.
So,
Well, that's the reason I want to get this going now because to get to those 2 areas, we have to cross ditches. And he said what I was talking to him about didn't look like it was going to be an issue because we're not asking to just fill it all in. We're just asking for a few pipes so we build a roadway across the top of it. So we got to know that before we can go on with everything else. To know if we're even going to be able to keep the site and make it because basically we build this site. This is the next, in my opinion, it's going to be the next 100 years. This is where we're going to be. So, and we got to make sure we're set up because
Chris is going to live to be really old.
the next, I'm gonna be around haunting everybody.
He's not gonna be there for a
But we also got to look at the fact that we're going to have water and sewer sometime in this county. It's coming. It might not be next year or the year after, but it's coming. So we're going to have make sure we got enough room for storing stuff, all the pipes, and have the departments there. So we got to set everything up from the beginning. But we need to know that right now before we start spending.
And this is the first phase to find out if we can even use the property.
Yes.
And
Back when the county acquired this property in '05, the wetlands were kind of sporadic through the property, and so it messed up the plans for the baseball complex because the layout wouldn't work. So I just based on memory, I think there's still enough usable land. It just wasn't usable for the grant that we got it for. So I think you'll be surprised. But that was 20 years ago.
Yes.
So a lot has changed in
And
that 20 years.
if it's
yeah.
something minor, I mean,
Right.
like, okay, well, we can't go across here unless we do some mitigation. If we have to buy a couple credits
Right.
to be able to make this road work over here and this road work over here, now's the time to know, okay, we're gonna have to buy some credits
Mhm.
at a mitigation.
One thing that I made a note of too while we were talking, Chris, is let's reach out, you and I, to Carroll tomorrow with FPL. I mean, they're mitigating that entire property for their solar farm at the moment. I mean, they're in the process with all of that. So if
Oh,
there's
okay.
something that we might be able to let them know that we're in the middle of this, there may be a partnership there to help make that happen. So
I
we'll
tried to
reach
get him to
out.
give us a different piece of property.
We actually talked about that because it would be more
I
ideal
think
to
they might
shift
be,
it. Yeah.
If we could shift
They might talk.
to
I
the
told
west.
you.
We talked about that because there's a road right there that would be a little better access to the
Right.
yeah, instead of coming off of US 90
Yeah.
and just shift our property line to the roadway and then
That's
so
exactly what
we've
I
had
tried.
those conversations early on. We didn't get a response back on that. We can always ask again.
No, I didn't.
We have asked that already, but we can remind them that we asked.
Should we
But
do
if
that
nothing else,
before we
we-
approve a site plan? Starting
Well-
on a site plan?
Well, basically what we gotta do is get it, we need the topo more than we need anything. We need a topo to know exactly what we gotta have. But then he also has got to be able to put some kind of design together.
And one thing that we want to do tonight also is this money's in current year. So by going ahead and making sure that we approve this tonight, we get to roll it over into next fiscal year. I don't think Pittman Engineering is starting this tomorrow, so we've got some time.
I told
to
him it'd be a
verify
few
that
months
with
before we
FPL.
even touch anything.
So let's talk about that. You keep saying we're gonna roll this in the next year. Did we budget for this next year?
No, sir. It gets to be carried forward with our PO process.
That's part of our problem.
Mhm.
If we knew we weren't gonna spend money this year, it should have been budgeted for next year.
Well, we were planning on spending the money this year until all the financial stuff happened.
Mhm.
And then, because we were holding on to the money for in-kind services as our match. And of course, you know where that went.
We intend to spend money in 2026, fiscal year 2026.
Mhm.
It should be in 2026 budget. There is no such thing as the budget rolling forward. It is in the budget or it's not. The funds may roll forward, but the budget does not. And if it wasn't budgeted and we're going to spend money on it, there needs to be a budget amendment to increase the expenditures for that year for it.
We can do that.
It's the process of budgeting. That's what I'm. Okay.
What's the pleasure of the board? I think we need to move forward, but I still think we need to make that question one more time.
I think it's a simple answer from FPL for us.
Well, I never got an answer. I asked
Yeah.
several times and they kind of brushed me off. At one time they said they was interested, and then I asked a couple more times and never got any kind of response.
Yes.
So you need a motion? No.
I'd have to have a motion to approve spending money.
I'll make a motion to approve the task order.
Second.
A motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I didn't know if you'd fell asleep over there. I know it's late.
I wouldn't blame him.
Okay.
All right, well, thank y'all.
Past
Thank you,
minutes.
Chris.
It's only 1:10 here.
You still got a long time.
Thank you in the morning.
You want any sense to go to bed tonight? You might as
In
well
the
work right
morning?
all through the night. Let's see what we got.
They got some good coffee over there.
All right, next item on the agenda, pending business report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right, so we've taken a few items off and we've made sure to add Old Lusty Park onto this list that we've talked about. Moving through our list, one thing we haven't done in a while, and Chris and I will try to get together and do that, is the infrastructure funding for county roads. We've kind of done a overall report on some of our projects, and honestly we've had so much going on with all our FEMA projects that's taken up a lot of our extra time, so we'll try to get that back on here for a regular update. The St. Mary's Cove boat ramp, again, Robin with North Florida Professional Services was here a few weeks ago. We gave him our guidance on what we liked and didn't like about those plans, and they are working to make those changes that we suggested. We'll bring that back before you all. On the Phase 1, I just realized that line got deleted by accident, so we'll add that back onto there. The St. Mary's Cove Boat Ramp Phase 1 we've talked about already tonight. We're working through the process with FEMA to make sure that that one's moving forward. That one's the moving the quickest through our process. We'll continue to focus on that. And I said I'll make sure to add that back onto the list. St. Mary's Shoals Park improvements. We are looking for one camp host. If anyone is interested and would like to submit an application to us, we are interested in trying to find someone to live on site for us. We have a vacancy there. Kyler Fire Station, again, this is still just on our pending business report because the final closeout of that project was our mobile home purchase. So again, until we get to a point where we're ready to purchase that mobile home, this one will just stay on a pending business item. NAB Sports Complex appropriation project, and we are still kind of in a limbo area there to get started on the construction of the restrooms and concession stands. They did end up having a fall ball season with Little League, so we're just going to make sure that they can get through what they're doing with that before any kind of construction starts on that project. Courthouse generator appropriation. The vendor has run the conduit. We talked about this at length 2 weeks ago, and they're getting ready for that preparation of equipment. There's not a lot that they can do in advance before the actual generator gets here, but they are trying to get all of those little nuances done and taken care of. The Sanderson Center, we're still working through on getting multiple quotes on that project and trying to get that moved forward. I've asked Mr. Moore to send some people my way. So far I haven't gotten any new contractors yet, but I know it's top priority for him, so we should be able to get some prices on that hopefully pretty soon. And then last for me, LaDonna does have an update on her community development software. I'll let her do that. But just on the Olustee Park acquisition, that's been added to our list. I know Rich has got maybe some legal work to do for us on that part. I don't know if you've got anything you want to add on that one, Rich.
Yeah, Sarah, you and I just need to talk about, we may have to engage an outside law firm to do an air search.
Okay. All right. We can talk about that and get that taken care of, whatever we need to do. And LaDonna, I think you wanted to share some updates on your permit software.
So yesterday afternoon, we had our first training with the new ADG permitting software. They have converted enough of the data that we were able to be issued usernames and kind of get in there and move things around, see how it's going to be set up, and make sure that it is laid out the way that we were expecting it to be. Late this afternoon, I didn't get a chance to share it with Dennis. They had asked that we kind of, play with some of the features, see if there's features that we want to modify, add, take away. With the NFIP and CRS ongoing, yeah. So when our CRS status was removed back in 16, 17, reading through that report, two of the big things that stood out were they had requested elevation certificates, and no elevation certificates were ever produced. And they had asked for some other permitting information within those floodplain areas. So one of the features that is in the new software, any lot that is within the FEMA flood zone, we will be able to flag and attach those elevation certificates. So if we need to populate every permit that's been issued within a flood zone, it'll just be a simple report that we can run, or any permit that has an elevation certificate attached to it would be simply running a report and pulling that information. So those are two really good features that I think are going to help us get those, get back to where we need to be with those two statuses. There were a lot of points in that CRS ranking that could have been made up and could have potentially made a difference back then if that information just would have been provided. So this will be a very simple way for us to provide that information in the future. So I thought that was a good thing to share. I have asked for them to give us an invoice for the hours used thus far, so that we can use part of what we have in current budget to go ahead and take care of that. But that's it. Some progress. Progress is better than been none, so.
Do we have a tentative full use date to the customer?
We do not. Reason being, when we first started this process, and part of the reason for the delay, when we first started this process, the clerk's office, who also uses ADG, we were all on the same. We all used the same internal system, and since then, the clerk's office has parted ways. Clint can give you a little more detail on that. That added some hiccups, a couple of things that had to be done that we were not anticipating having to do. Nothing that can't be done, just a few additional hurdles. So that did push us back a little while. As far as staff use, we are very close to staff being able to utilize the system, and then once staff is able to start using, then we can add on in the future for not just people to be able to apply for permits and applications online, but also for different projects when other departments have to review, they'll have a login as well. So just for example, if fire rescue has to review a permit or an application, Trevor would just be able to log in and view all of the information. He wouldn't have to come to the office, emails back and forth. He could email, or he could log in, all the information would be there, and he'll actually be able to submit his approvals. So, and there's a feature too, when we have pending approvals that we're still waiting for, we can set it up to every 3 business days, send out an email reminder or something like that. So there was a lot of neat features that will definitely speed up the process.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for the pending business report, unless you guys have specific questions for it.
Any questions for Sarah? Any questions on expense report over 5,000? American Rescue Plan, any updates, Ms. Sarah?
No, sir.
23-24 audit update?
Yes, we do have an audit update. Let me read the email that was sent this afternoon from James Moore. So this is from Noah. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for your time yesterday. Yesterday, what he was referring to is we had a Teams call yesterday for the audit update and to go through some specifics. But here's more of a general overview. As normal, we wanted to ensure that y'all had a written audit update from us for the meeting. Board of County Commissioners, the audit is about 60% complete. As we're working through some of the audit procedures this week, we expect some progress. The SureLink is the portal that they're uploading all the information to, is about 75 to 80% fulfilled. The highest priority item here is a new version of the trial balance, which includes reconciliations for interfund and receivables. From the clerk side, the audit completion is 80 to 90%. The request list fulfillment is nearly 100%. The high priority item here is fund balance and cash reconciliations. The sheriff, the audit completion is around 80 to 90% as well, as we're currently going back and forth on some of the last audit areas. The request list is 95 to 100%. Others, property appraiser, tax collector, and supervisor of elections, the audit procedures are completed up to this point. There are no outstanding items. The only thing needed to wrap those up is completion of the county audit. Let me see. So here's,
if everything's 80 to 90%, why is the total only at 60?
the total was only at 60.
So that's just us?
That's yes. So that's their portion that is 80 to 90% complete. The audit right now, the total audit, and mostly on the county side, is 60%. That's due to lack of a complete and accurate trial balance at this time. So you all have requested an estimate for the audit timeline for us. As discussed in yesterday's meeting, if we receive an updated trial balance that has been fully reconciled by this Friday, 9/26, we should be able to have the audit report completed and submitted within the 3 to 4 weeks. Given that estimate, our current goal for completion is set at 10/17, with the possibility of 10/24. Both of those are Fridays. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns. So to answer your question, right now, that's the thing that's hinging on everything. Emil with CKH is working right now on trying to clean up the trial balance and get it. There was a large part of receivables and interfund transfers that they had to, I guess, sort through. So that is what they're working on at this time, and that is CKH working on that. As soon as they get that completed, then they can really start a lot of the audit procedures. That's why it's still hinging at 60% right now, because they don't have the true numbers to go off of at this time. Still not adding up. So that's where they're at, and hopefully, we talked to the clerk yesterday. They're hopeful to have it done by this Friday. If it is done by this Friday, then we're looking at a 10/17 completion date at this time. We did receive a letter from JLAC yesterday. The letter states, I'm not going to read all of it, but it states that we have until November 17th to complete the audit before withholdings will begin. So we've got not much wiggle room at this point, so we were definitely working to get through that and get it completed this time. But right now, so you did update JLAC today?
Oh, yes, they've got this.
So as of right now, we've been keeping in constant contact with Ms. White.
Ms. White.
Correct, with JLAC, letting them know our status. But right now, if we don't have it submitted by November 17th, we're going to be having some forfeitures.
So it has to be done.
Got to be done.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how much right now that we've already accumulated for this year's audit for consultants?
You and I don't know if you have the email on for James Moore. I didn't pull up CKH.
No, not Jay Moore, because we already paid for that one.
Yes, sir.
CKH.
For CK, no, sir. I can pull it for you.
I would like to know how much additional the county is paying to go
Well-
through and do the job of getting all these balances up to date, getting everything completed,
Yes.
because we're paying a consultant to do the work that the clerk's office should have done well in advance of this, and get information submitted over so that James Moore can actually do the audit. They can't do the audit because they were still waiting on trial balances, and we're paying a consultant to do that. I'd like to know how much we are paying extra for this, and as well as if there is any expectation that the audit that we have James Moore doing, or are there going to be any additional costs associated with that?
As of right now, we've paid, and I'm going to say 70 to 75% of our total contract with James Moore.
Yeah.
So we paid them a total, I think, of $85,000. So we've paid them about 75% of it.
And I'm not as concerned about James Moore, because we have a contract value of about
That's right.
115,000 for them. That's fine. They're only billing us up to that. That's fine if that's all we're doing it. But what I'm getting at, and that was a cost where the county's going to incur regardless. What I'm
Right.
trying to get to is how much are we paying extra
Above and
for,
beyond.
quite frankly, for the clerk's office's failure to do the job that should have been done and submitted back on June 30th. And we continue to use the fact this is 3 years in a row that our audits are late, behind schedules, and now we're also subject to sanctions again, 3 years in a row. 1 year we got sanctions. Last year sanctions were issued, but they submitted them just before they went into effect, and now we got a 3rd year in a row that we've already been put on notice that we're going to have sanctions if it's not done. I'm trying to figure, and we're spending a lot of extra money for consultant services to do the job that should have already been done by the clerk's office, and we can keep talking about, well, I don't have a finance director. That finance director's only been gone a month. And is an office set up to where that there is only one person in the entire county that can do the job? So, and Sarah, you've had to step in and do all this other, anyway, it's not an audit issue.
I'll pull the
Thank
payments to CKH. We'll send it out to you all.
Unbelievable.
Well, I'm going to find it highly unacceptable if we don't meet that deadline.
That means we'll spend just a tremendous amount of additional resources for consultants to ensure that we meet it. And so at the end of the day, how much are we going to lose in sanctions versus how much are we going to spend for consultants? It's costing us, either way now, it's costing us a tremendous amount of money one way or the other, but I agree with meeting it. But it's, again, it's coming at a tremendous cost to the taxpayers of this county for the failure for having the job done.
And the reason I say it's unacceptable is because we beg for grants
I
from the
agree.
state of Florida all the time, wanting money, and we just talked about a project for the road department. It's hard pressed for me to go beg for money, we can't even do our own job. And that's a bad reflection on the county. And the only people that the Tallahassee that they see at the county is the commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna count it highly unacceptable if we don't meet the November deadline. And I don't wanna hear any excuses of why we didn't meet it. Okay. Anything else on audit?
No, sir.
County manager?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
County attorney?
No, sir, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Commissioner comments? Commissioner Mann, why you still awake over there?
I'm still awake. It's a little after 1 in the morning, but I'm still here. Thanks for including me remotely, and I look forward to being back with you at the next meeting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for staying awake with us.
We'll be at international calling.
Yeah. Commissioner Hartley?
The only thing I have a question on is Council on Aging. Have we got the air conditioning and everything else that's tore up at the brand new building?
The
Has
air
it been
conditioners are
fixed?
working. I haven't gotten any calls on that in a few weeks. They did some change outs on some of the, like, electrical stuff in that. So I know we had reached out to the contractor to have a sit-down meeting, and he was supposed to send me some dates. They were stretched pretty thin with projects at the moment, but he told me he would send me some dates. Commissioner Anderson, I haven't heard anything I haven't heard any issues in the last 2 weeks, and if you have, I'm not aware of
The
them.
air conditioning in the main building is working. The offices are super hot.
Yeah. And they were supposed to do some studies on that. They had a person to come out and take a look
They
at
got
that.
somebody that's supposed to look at that, so I'm not sure that that's been addressed yet. But as far as the air conditioning cutting off and on, they do have that resolved. But now they gotta get the flow right throughout the building.
Any ideas?
Let's move on to our next item on the,
That's all I have. I just wanted to ask a question
Yeah.
on that.
we, I can't say. I've had some conversations, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Good. Thank you for having those conversations.
The, Commissioner Bennett.
The only thing I had is a follow-up on something that was mentioned before, and that's with the Veterans Park and the memorial that Mr. Porterfield wants to install or whatever. He wasn't asking for any funding, but again, I had some concerns raised that there's a Veterans Memorial at Heritage Park, and I had concerns raised that what was being presented didn't truly represent all veterans, and I don't know if we've had any follow-up or know what Mr. Porterfield is doing, where he's at, what's happening, or anything else with that. I think that is one that we may want to just make sure everybody's good with it, because it's,
Yes, sir. No,
he's got the best of intentions, and I greatly applaud and appreciate his effort. We just need to make sure that it is truly representing all veterans.
Yes, sir.
And that's my only caution. I appreciate his heart for it. I appreciate everything that he does and his dedication and hard work for it. I just need to make sure it's truly representing everybody.
Yes, sir, certainly.
Commissioner Mobley.
Yeah, I wanted to remind everybody, I know it was on our consent agenda today about the Isaiah 117 house. They're having a carnival Saturday at the fairgrounds from 5 to 9. Always a good time and for a good cause, but I just wanted to throw that out there, make sure everybody was aware of it.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.